It's a blazing minus 30 right now. I'm gonna see if the rabbit will go. I did plug it in this morning, so hopefully it will. See if we feel any warmth here. You can hear coolant moving around. Let both plugs go for a while here. Do a second cycle. I think I need another battery. Here's a fresh battery. Hopefully fresh, it's on the charger. Fresh battery, let's try again. That battery might have just not been happy sitting outside because it should have been charged. I have it plugged in again and added this battery blanket. Kind of wrapped it around the engine. Alright, we're back. It's the next day. It's warmed up to maybe minus 23. So, much better temperature. This whole situation's been going since last night. So let's see if it goes. Oh, come on, we're getting close. And starter disengages. Oh, we're close, we're close, we're close. Come on. Whoa. And just revving crazy. I think I'm going to have to keep manning the throttle with my foot for a while. See if I can slowly let off. Is it going to idle on its own? It's getting very lumpy the less I give it. I'm about off. Okay, now I'm off. I can get rid of this whole situation now. Did this battery blanket make the difference? I don't know. I'll let it idle for a while, and I'll come back to it. You can see it's still running. A lot of smoke. I should probably go out there and shut the hood and actually tighten battery terminals down because I kind of just set them on. Seems to be running happier now. Kind of spinning. Here's something you may remember if you watched, I think it was the first video about the Rabbit. When I got it, the brakes were very bad, and they still are. The first thing I tried to do was bleed them, which is the sensible thing to do, and the bleeder broke off. And it broke off back there, and it broke off in one of the other ones, and then I stopped. I now have some new bleeder screws. I'm going to try to drill that out, and then use an extractor or something. See what I can make happen. The angle is way too bad. I'm going to have to take the tire off. That's a perfect excuse to try out my new Impact. I should have done that in the first place. These things are just way too soft. It just keeps on spinning in there. Oh, there comes brake fluid. What I'm going to do now is tap this out a little bit more to an M8 by 1.25, because those are the only bolts I have. I gotta plug this with something. It's really easy to move around, even without the power steering. Oh no, I've trapped the jack over here with me. See if I can bring it around the long way. Oh yeah. Plenty of room to work. Safe. Oh yeah, got a little table here now. Shelf, table, same thing. Well, that's nice. I didn't actually attempt to get this one off last time. At least doesn't look like it. So I'm gonna spray it down and see if it'll come off. As I expected, it just breaks off. Uh-oh. I was trying to ream it out, got a little too carried away. I just got it. Had to go grab the Knipex needle nose out of the RAV4. All it takes is some good tools. Unfortunately, there's still too much metal in there, so I'm going to have to drill it out again, or go in with a smaller tap with the same thread pitch. I think I'm going to try that. I guess this one is now no good as well. Not sure if you can really see in there, but I got another drill bit snapped off from the very bottom this time. I don't think there's any getting that out. So I think I'm just going to have to plug this as well and get a whole new caliper for it too. I'm going to see if I can bleed this one, maybe, because I actually got the bleeder in. So if I can bleed it, I'll just take the bleeder out and put a normal bolt in for now, so at least I have one brake. I really don't have any idea if this is even doing anything. Unless, of course, this fluid is just spraying everywhere as I push the brake again. I don't want to go too tight, but I also don't want fluid going everywhere. I'm going to try to step on it again and see what happens. Well, this feels worse than it did when I started, so that's not good. Okay, now I have no brakes working when I had a little bit of braking when I started. I'm going to put this back in the back again because I need to get the RAV4 in here to park it tonight. So hopefully tomorrow I will see what I can do with the rear brakes. Hopefully more than I did with the front ones today. Alright, it's day 2 of this brake situation. Let's see if I can make the back ones actually work. I'm going to take off the wheel as well so I have a bit more room to work with. Looks like I didn't break this bleeder off either, so that's nice. Oh, I just touch it and it snaps off. I might have to just replace the wheel cylinder on this one. I'm going to take this drum off and see what the situation looks like on the inside of it. Well, that came off a lot easier than I expected. See if I can carefully get the bearing out of here. Oh no, the drum is cracking apart. Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna step on the brake and see if those move. Absolutely nothing. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and see if I can get the wheel cylinder out to make working on it a little bit easier. Now, chances are, when I try to remove this brake line, I'm just going to break it off, and when I try to remove the cylinder, I'm just going to break the bolts off. Now, I think it might be spinning, but it could also just be spinning the line. Yeah, the whole line looks like it's just moving. This is loosening out, though. I don't have anything to make a new line if this is to break. Flaring tools are on sale right now at Prentice Auto, but I don't know how much I'd trust one of those. I think my only option is to just keep going with this. And there it went. Broke off as soon as I got to the end. It's still a fair few turns in there, so I wasn't as close as I thought. This brake job is really not going my way. Maybe that's why I put it off for so long. Now, time to see if that wheel cylinder is going to come out for me. I don't want to get a torch on this because I have nothing but flammable materials all over here, so I don't think that would be the best idea. Yep, just as I expected. The heads just strip out. Since you can see the end of the bolts on the wheel cylinder, I'm going to try drilling through the bolt and then see if I can extract it. It moved. There we go. I'll see if I can get that bleeder out, but here's what I had to do to the metal in order to get that bolt out. I have the wheel cylinder and the bench vise now, since it's a lot easier to work on it up here than it is to work on it down there. This one doesn't look very good. It's got some pitting in the cylinder. I'm going to try something, and it may not work. I'm going to see if I can get rid of some of the material on here that's broken off, so I can weld a bolt in and then have some threads. If it doesn't work, not much of a loss, because I need to get a new cylinder anyways. All of that material is now gone. Oh, probably should have got rid of those wood chips before they caught fire. See if I can run a tap through here. That is not staying in the vise. I'm done trying to repair that wheel cylinder. I just looked at the price on Rock Auto, and the cheapest one you can get is $389. The most expensive one is $1018. So I'll get 2 of those on the way. Some days have elapsed since the last video, and I have acquired more parts. Some front calipers, 2 of them. They're remanufactured, but they look pretty nice, and they were $45 each. Some more brake fluid because it was a lot cheaper on Rock Auto. And a hatch strut. I think that's all that came in this. Oh, wait. No, this is brake stuff that fell out of the box. I do have more Rock Auto stuff coming, like rear wheel cylinders and some other assorted things, but that is in a different shipment, and it should be here in a few days. I also got some new brake line at Napa, a flaring tool. You'll notice that this is a double flaring tool kit, not a bubble flaring tool like you need for Volkswagens. But there's a trick. You can use this tool in order to make bubble flares. See if I can get this line out. So I'm going to try to kind of go back and forth a little bit. And here it comes. Okay, well that's already coming off. So that means I can take the caliper off. And there we have it. See if I can keep that up so I don't lose too much fluid. I'm going to clean some of this up while I have the caliper off. These tie rod ends are actually greasable. You can see the fitting underneath all of that dried on disgustingness. So I'm going to try to clean that off and re-grease it. See if this will take any grease. Yeah, it must not have been much in there. Unfortunately, the brake pads are what's coming in my next order. But looking closer at these ones, there's a lot of pad left on them. So the new hardware doesn't even fit. That means I have to steal the stuff from the old caliper. Hopefully it will be compatible with the new one. Luckily these don't need too much cleaning up. Yeah, the master cylinder is leaking a lot. Let's see if we can take that off and figure out what's going wrong in there. I have the cylinder loosened, but I need to take off all these lines. Did get it to move a little bit. Okay, that one's out. Nice, this one seems to be coming without breaking the line as well. It seems to be leaking from back here. I don't know why I didn't even consider getting a new one when I was ordering from Rock Auto. Whatever, we'll see what I can make happen here. If I've learned anything recently, it's that I should look and see what a new part costs before I try to fix this any further. I tried to find a master cylinder near me, and nobody seemed to have any in stock. So I've popped this open, and you can see the seal doesn't look too nice around there. It's kind of looks like it was crushed down almost. So I'm going to see if I can do something about that maybe. Okay, so it's a 2-piece, if you want to call it, seal. Moving around the pick in here, it seems to be releasing and sitting a lot nicer. So I'm wondering if it was just crudded up. I'm hoping this will fix it and I won't have to spend $1 on this. I'm going to try to do it in the same order as I took them out by putting the bottom ones on first. Okay, that one's tight. And that's the rest of this bottle. Doesn't look like anything was coming out of there. Now it's time for the other side, so I will shimmy the car over this way so I have more room to work there. Oh no, that almost took out the camera. These are also in a lot better shape than the other side, so that's nice. That's gonna need a little persuasion to come off of there. That's really on there. There we go. I'm gonna add some lithium grease to the inside of here. I did that to the last one as well. I just went to get some more brake fluid because I was running low and couldn't finish bleeding it. And I picked up this unit. It's a vacuum pump and has an attachment for bleeding brakes. I thought that might be handy. I'm gonna make sure this thing actually draws a vacuum before I even try to bleed it, because I wouldn't be surprised if it just doesn't work. This thing's a piece of junk. Before I return the vacuum pump that doesn't work, I'm going to use its little reservoir to try and bleed the system. I guess I can just treat this thing like a bad rental. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let's give this side a go now. This thing was too small and kept on pulling air in, so I bled it again off camera, just using the container with brake fluid in it. I would say it is now good. Here's how far the brake goes. It stops about halfway. I still need to bleed the back ones. And there is no more fluid leaking out of the master cylinder either. I've been monitoring that. So I'd say this thing is good to take for a drive and test it out. Time for a test drive. I'm going to use the test drive as an excuse to go back to Princess Auto and return this piece of junk. That reminds me, I didn't hook the booster back up. It's a little bit hard to tell how good the brakes are working because it's icy, but they'll lock right up. Yeah, it feels wrong having to not push the brakes all the way to the floor to use them. This mirror is something I'm going to have to fix soon because all the vibrations in the car cause it to keep going down. Even though it doesn't have a turbo, it still has a bit of that diesel torque, so for how small the engine is, it's not bad. And every time I take off, that isn't the sound of me almost stalling out, that's just the sound of everything vibrating. Now it's warmed up enough to take off the timing advance. Let's see what this has got. That was a hard shift. On the roads that have a bit of a curve to them, it feels pretty quick. All this muck is reminding me that I forgot to install the washer fluid reservoir, so I'm not going to have a good way to clean my window off. Here we are, the land of garbage. That drive was a huge success. Now this may sound like a bit of a stretch, but the brakes are actually amazing now. Compared to what they once were, I can't believe that the rear drums aren't working yet. Once those are in, it's going to be really good. Because you can lock the tires up pretty quick on pavement, and they just feel like regular brakes at this point. The pads are a little bit worn, and the rotors are not in good shape as you saw, but they work really well. Now, the next thing I want to do with the stuff I have is install the strut for the hatch. I should be able to pull these clips out just like that. That was a lot easier than I anticipated. That's a lot thinner. I'm going to use the sleeves that came with my brake calipers. I'll measure and cut it down. If I hold this in the hole along with this piece, I can get a rough idea. Should be about that big. Cut that down and see how it works. Let's see how these work now. Look at that. It's the only hatch I have that works. I guess that's a lie. The Pulsar holds up, kind of. The Jetta does not. I had to put the shims on opposite sides to keep it as straight as I could, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. It would be a problem if I didn't do that. Let's see if I can get this thing installed and working. It's been a week or two since I actually built it, and what the heck? Oh, all the paint's flaking off of the valve cover. That's expected. I knew that paint wouldn't last. I'll get some actual paint. I've had a different idea for how I want to paint this engine anyways, and I think it'll look pretty good. But back to this. There we go. Look at that. This is by no means permanent, but isn't that how all permanent installs start off? See if I can be a sharpshooter today. Whoa, whoa. There we go. That's handy. If you ever lose the lid, they're very easy to come by new ones. Let's see if we can clean this dirty thing off. Okay, if you help them out, they go really well. I'm wondering if this mechanism needs a bit more lubrication. Okay, I got it going. I sprayed a little bit of lithium grease on, but I'm going to add some more. I don't know if that made a difference or not. I think the real problem is this motor is just getting old and tired. That's a lot better than what I had before, so I'll use it for now. That's it for this video. Hopefully I'll get the rear brake part soon so I can work on that. The car's a lot better off than when I started the video, and that's nice, because lots of times changes don't really amount to much, but these changes did, especially the ones that I did in the past couple hours.